So, what a man can fly, a woman can fly even more elegantly. So, Captain Tracy Atobatele joins us on the program today. She's a pilot. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming through this morning. I know it's pretty early and you have a busy schedule. You must be flying. Are you flying today?
No.
You're not flying?
No.
Brilliant. So we can relax. So what does it
she's
take?
Flying, we're on air, right?
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
So what altitude are we flying at, Cardi? Speaking of altitude, what does it take to fly 176,000? I believe that's what an average aircraft weighs. What does it take to fly an aircraft?
Okay, pretty much a type rating, but then you have to have gone through flight training first. Like here in the US, here in Nigeria, sorry. I kind of so here in Nigeria, you can go from being in flight school, finishing flight school with a commercial pilot's license, and then with 250 hours, go straight to the airlines. But in other places, like the US where I live, you have to build your hours to 1,500 hours before you're able to fly like the really big jets. So
how many hours do you have in your collection now? I believe you've been in the business for 13 years.
Yes, but then I've been in the business in different roles, not flying, not like straight up flying. So I first started out as a flight attendant and then a jet charter broker, and then went to flight training, and then right now I'm a flight instructor. And I also work at a company called CAE. It's the largest business jet training center, and I'm in the Falcon 900 program.
Okay. So I couldn't resist that first question. So let me go to what was supposed to be the first question, which would be, we've heard many stories about parents kicking against, their children embarking on certain kinds of professions, but we haven't quite heard what, a normal parent reaction would be to, you want to be a pilot, as in you really want to fly.
Yes,
so what was it like? Did you get the encouragement or not?
I guess for me, I've always been very different, especially from my siblings. So I'm the one that will just wake up and when I say I want to go to Ghana by myself, I want to go to here by myself. So my parents weren't really surprised because I'd done a lot of things that, of course, it surprised them a little bit, but they weren't really surprised at that. They were, especially my mom, she was extremely supportive, because I would source for scholarships back to back and I wouldn't get them. So I'll go there and cry, I wasn't able to get the scholarship. And she'd be like, don't worry. I believe with the way you're going and how you're pushing, you get it. So my mom and dad, yeah, but my mom more.
We cannot talk about you without talking about first experience. All of us had first experiences. The first day we were on the radio, the first day we were on television, we had those experiences. Talk to us about, because no matter how comfortable the plane is,
I
can't wait to land.
I know.
Being in the air is not natural.
No, it isn't.
So you understand where we're coming from, right?
I do.
So how did it feel the very first time you had to fly?
I guess for me, the first time was very emotional because I cried. And my instructor was looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, because it took me such a long time to get there. So it was just all the emotions of, oh my God, when I was sewing, when I was buy stuff and sell stuff, when I was saving my money, when I would go to the bank and drop 1,000 naira, something that basic. So everything just came at once. And then, of course, a little bit of fear, but then more of happiness and gratitude. Look, I finally got to this point.
But you sure landed safely.
I did.
I did. Incidentally, I was at the airport this morning and just heading back. I was just thinking about it, that, it takes a certain kind of personality, a certain kind of mindset to be responsible for the lives of a lot of people per time. Just, days ago, I was flying and there was some sort of turbulence. And at that moment, you know what I did? Because we were in the air, so I just sent a message, airplane mode. I actually did this. I just said, I love you, B, to my wife. I actually did that. I'm sure she doesn't know why. I figured it was going to send eventually when I turned my phone on after I turned it off. But it takes a mindset. It takes a mental, because you're whatever happens, it's not just going to be me. It's going to be, God forbid, a lot more people. And then you have to stay calm. You listen to the conversation sometimes. Planes about to crash, and you still hear how calm the pilot is, when you get the flight data recorder and stuff. So what kind of personality does it take to be a pilot?
I think some people come off come into this into the career and you of course start off maybe be playful. But then the more you go into, and then the realization of knowing that, look, like for me personally, I take it as if my parents were flying at the back, like how would I fly this plane? If my son was flying at the back, how would I fly this plane? So with a lot of seriousness, you know, and I've had like a few situations in the past where I didn't even know I would be that calm because I had an engine failure one time. And I was in training.
You know what? It's not on the road where you can park and call your mechanic.
No. I had, funny enough, I was with a Nigerian instructor, Tanko, and we were in the plane. We just took off and we're like on crosswind, and we had the situation happen. And I didn't even realize how calm I would be. You know, you don't know what is going to happen until you're there. And I was actually really calm. I'm like, okay. So, you know, you see situations like that, and it kind of prepares you, because the next time I did have another situation, I was like more prepared. You know, like even the person beside me was kind of freaking out, but I'm like I've been here. I've been here before.
So before Bugala comes in, when should we pray the most? Take off or landing?
Or mid-air?
No, mid-air is, well, not autopilot, kind of.
Yeah.
Take off or landing?
No.
Why should the prayer request be stronger?
You pray every time, but I believe like
pray without ceasing.
Pilots are so trained. Like we go through so much training that the pilots still have families at home. They want to go home. Trust me. So you have nothing to fear.
And that's my next point. Well, in relation to what Kayode said, I believe all pilots have their wheels, whether or not they
that escalated fast.
But about family. How do pilots, you know, maintain work-life balance? I imagine they live in the air more often than not. How does this affect your personal life, marriage, children, and all those important aspects of life?
I know, like, it can be hard. I'm not even gonna lie. It's really, really hard. Like, it's so hard that, like, currently I'm actually, like, going through that now, because I have a 3-year-old, and there are a lot of things that you'd want to do. There are a lot of times you want to be there, but then you are just unable. I feel like it takes a village, and it's just important to just have your tribe. So, like, at times when you're unable to, you have family. Like, I have extremely loving sisters, cousins, my husband, everyone just, you know, comes in. And I say my sisters because my son is here and my sisters are here, my cousins. So, like, everybody just steps in and they help you, because they know, like, you know, this is, if you could, you would be there. So
you live in the U.S.
Yes,
and your son is here in Nigeria?
Yes, we came, this is his first time being here.
Okay.
And this was my first time being here after 9 years, so.
It's tough.
It is.
So that's what that tells me is that, you know, flight attendants, pilots have their social life in the air. So dating goes on in the air and all of that. I know I'm infringing on territory.
No, yeah, the thing is, there are a lot of, like, relationships with.
In the air.
So I have a friend who is a pilot. I have a friend who is a pilot, and when we have conversations, and it feels like what he's telling me is that the most dangerous pilots are the older ones. What he means by that is simply, when you get used to something, the danger is higher, because you're like, I've done this, I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Is that something you're told in flight school or in the aviation sector? What exactly? I want to make sense of that statement.
I think it's actually like the opposite, because to me, I see it as you've done this over and over again, and you actually haven't had any incident or accident. You know what I mean? So I feel like you've done it so much, like, I feel like you're safe to me as far as I'm concerned. I feel sometimes it's even when people are starting off, the excitement of starting, like, oh, I'm actually here, I can actually do this. But with everything that's been happening now, I don't think anybody would want to, like, be too excited. You want to be extremely careful.
There's something I must ask you. I'm trying to ask about your routine, you know, the usual checks, what you do, but we'll have that conversation. But I need to talk about your footwear. Because for a lot of people, they don't really also make shoes.
We'll do it on another show, don't worry.
You actually make shoes as well.
Yes, I do. Yes,
What's this called?
It's called the Rita and Nathan sneakers. It's kind of like an Adire leather mix.
This is for pilots, Abby.
No, it's for everyone.
It's really beautiful.
Kayode, Jeffrey, and I should get one of Rita and Nathan footwear.
For sure.
Online or in store?
So we have like an interactive process, because right now I have a website, but because it's so interactive, I just take orders like
So you sell it?
personally. Yes, I do.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
Noted.
All right. So we're super proud of what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
For coming through. And we look
Thank you so
forward
much
to
for having
another
me.
interesting conversation with you. We've been talking with Captain Tracy Atobatele. She is a pilot.
And
And
A shoemaker. A shoe producer.
the proud owner of a shoe line.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Shoemaker to work.
it's fine, right?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So up next, we have another interesting conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.